Okay, so what you're gonna need is a 3/8 inch vinyl tube like this one. You could get it at any hardware store, and a empty bottle. So any bottle, like a water bottle, or this is from a spray bottle. You remove the cap, the trigger, and then you're left with this. So this is what I'm gonna use. So before we get started, we're gonna go ahead and open up the master cylinder reservoir. And then we're gonna have our brake fluid ready so we could fill it up as we empty it. Okay, so we're gonna start with the back wheels. This is the rear left, so we'll go ahead and take it off. Okay, so we're gonna start with here. These are rear drums. The bleeder screws 10 millimeter. Most of the time they're 10 millimeter. But if you have rear calipers, you're gonna have a bleeder that's sticking from the side of the caliper. Just to break it loose, we're gonna use a 10 millimeter with a ratchet. Okay, there you go. Now you want to put your wrench in position, and then go ahead and get your plastic bottle with your vinyl tube and slide it over the bleeder. Okay, now we're gonna go inside the car, pump the brakes with the bleeder closed, and then open the bleeder and then hold the brakes. So I'm gonna hold the brakes with a pry bar since I'm doing this by myself. Okay, so with the brake pedal pressed all the way down, I'm gonna open the bleeder. Okay, now we're gonna close it, and then we're gonna do the same process again. So pump the brakes and then hold it down with the pry bar. So once you've pumped the brake pedals a few times, and then you held it down with the pry bar, you're gonna go ahead and open the bleeder, and then go back inside the car and press the brake pedal all the way down. So more of the old fluid will come out. So we're gonna repeat this process a few times, and then we're gonna go back and check on the master cylinder reservoir so we could start filling it with brand new brake fluid. Okay, so now that the master cylinder is starting to get low, we're gonna start putting in the new brake fluid. Okay, so once it's topped off, we're gonna go back to the rear left wheel, and then we're gonna do the same process again until we see clear brake fluid coming out of the tube. So after a few pumps, we're gonna go back and check on the master cylinder reservoir, and we're gonna top it off again with the brand new brake fluid. Okay, so after about pumping and holding the brake pedal for like 15 or 20 times, your brake fluid should come out clear. Mine doesn't look that clear just because my tube is stained. But once it's clear, you'll close the bleeder and you'll be done with this wheel. Since this wheel is the furthest from the master cylinder, it's going to take a while. So since you're alone, about 15 to 20 times you'll have to do this until you see clear brake fluid coming out of this cylinder. Okay, so we're done with this wheel. Now we're gonna go on and we're gonna move on to the next wheel, and it should be a lot faster since most of the dirty fluid is out already. So let's go. Okay, so before you move on to the next wheel, we're just gonna use some brake cleaner to clean off all the brake fluid that dripped. So this is all the old brake fluid that we got from the first wheel. This is usually what you would expect since it is further from the master cylinder. Okay, so same thing with this wheel. Once you see clear brake fluid come out, you're done. And just make sure there's no more air bubbles. So we could go ahead and close off this bleeder. And then go ahead and put back the rubber cap. Okay, and that's it. We're done with the back wheels. Now we're going to move on to the front. Okay, so we're going to move on to the front calipers now. The bleeder is right here. We're going to start by heating it up, since they tend to be rusted in there. So we're going to heat it up, and then we're going to use a socket just to break it free, and then we're going to go back to the wrench. So watch the brake line. Okay, so now we're going to use a 3/8 ratchet with a 10mm socket just to give us more torque. Okay, now that it's free, we're going to go ahead and start bleeding it. Once again, don't forget to top off the new brake fluid. Okay, so same thing, once the brake fluid comes out clear and there's no more air bubbles, I'm gonna go ahead and close off the bleeder. And that's it, we're gonna move on to the last wheel, the driver's side wheel. Okay, once again, once you see clear brake fluid, you're all done now. So we're going to go ahead and close off the bleeder. And then we can remove our vinyl tube, and we can put back our rubber cap. And then we're just going to go ahead and spray some brake cleaner, clean off all the remaining brake fluid. And the final step, make sure the brake fluid is topped off. And then just wait a bit. There's a few air bubbles that's gonna come out. So once it's topped off, we could go ahead and put the cap back on. And then we're just gonna spray a bit of brake cleaner to clean off all the brake fluid that dripped down. And that's it, you're all done. So you can go ahead and test drive it, make sure your brake pedal is firm. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Take care guys, bye.